A good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can
Perfect.
hear you.
Perfect. Welcome to the session on understanding digital exclusion in AI era. My name is Millennium Anthony. I'm from Tanzania. I am a founder of STEM Heart Network, but I'm also a coordinator for the Youth IGF in Tanzania. But apart from that, I'm also an ITU Generation Connect Youth Envoy. I'm so excited to be moderating today's session, and here with me on site, two speakers. And then I also have two more speakers who are online, so they'll be giving their contributions online. And now I welcome the floor to my first speakers here on site. They're going to introduce themselves, and then we can move to the speakers online. They can introduce their names too. Welcome.
I would prefer to promote gender issue. So if you can just, go forward, introduce yourself, please.
Hi, my name is Jaewon. I'm from Korea. I'm currently a PhD candidate at Karlsruhe Institute of Technology in Germany. I used to be a committee member of Korea Internet Governance Forum and was also a founder of Youth Stakeholder Group in Korea. Nice to meet you.
So much. My name is Dr. Huzaifi Sakhadidban. I come from Chad. I coordinate the Chad Youth IGF. I'm actually advisor at the African Observer Mission of to the United Nations in New York. I represent NGO ASEA to the United Nations, which has a consultative statute. I'm very happy to be here today to discuss with you on the issue that reflects our realities and how to project ourselves into a new perspective that will shape AI in the use of achieving the sustainable development goals. Thank you once again.
Okay, Benjamin from online. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Millennium. Hi, everyone. My name is Ben Rashad Sanusi. I'm from Benin, but currently based in Morocco, doing my PhD in AI. I also work with Digital Grassroots, a young-led organization working to increase digital citizenship at the grassroots level. And I'm so happy to be here to discuss about this topic with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Maxwell.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me join you. My name is Maxwell Biganim, and I am in Ghana. I currently serve as the African coordinator for Anglophone region for Open Knowledge Foundation Network. I also used to be a steering committee member for IGF, Youth IGF in Ghana, and also an executive member of the Internet Society Ghana chapter as well. I am very happy to be here this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. So, before we move further to our discussions, can you hear me? I hope you can. Okay. Yeah, I can hear myself. So, before we move further to our discussion, so we have always recently we've been in these discussions about emerging technologies. We have all this AI, the computational, all these technologies and all that. But then we have been facing an issue that the marginalized group and let's say people also from the global south have been left out when it comes to all these emerging technologies. So there is this divide that is currently existing, especially when it comes to women, people with disabilities, but also people who are living in rural areas. So in this session today, we are going to explore this now digital exclusion that is currently existing, especially in relating to all these emerging technologies and specifically AI. So the whole discussion is going to revolve around that. So I'm going to be asking questions to my panelists. They're going to be responding to different questions that I'll be asking them. So just to start with the discussion, so I want to start with my on-site speakers. Start with you, Jawan. In your opinion, what is the most pressing challenge of digital exclusion in AI era, and how can we address it?
Yeah, thank you for your question. I think due to the AI divide between global north and south, without any cooperation between global south and north, it will be further that it's not only that global south not would be able to proceed further and also bring more economic divide and so on. So I was thinking that like more policies on technology transfer, for example, where the global north would bring some of the infrastructure technology and helping them to understand how to use the AI skill so that there will be more workforce where they can utilize such a technology and develop further into economic prosperity will be very beneficial in this case. And also I was thinking that one of the main challenges in these days in AI is that there are no much discussion between people and also technology companies that are making those technology where when there is any agreement about how the data will be used and so on, usually it's between the companies and country and there are not much discussion about how do we bring all the policies to the different stakeholder and the public. So I think there should be a more discussion how do we involve all the multi-stakeholder including the public. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Awan. So I want to move to you, Doctor. Um, so in 2030, we were expecting like to be there when it comes to the Sustainable Development Goals, right? And so how do you think AI can help achieve the SDGs while addressing digital exclusion, especially for marginalized group?
Well, I think it's important to keep being, I mean, optimistic, but from now till 2030 is only 6 years, I mean, left. It's quite a challenge, I'm saying. So, and especially when it comes to reflect realities in the global south, is quite impossible, to be honest. But we have to work, I mean, very deeply in, for instance, investing in public sector, for instance, investing in education, for instance, to give the possibility to local communities to have better education skills in digitalization, for instance, or even in different sectors, economy, health, creating, I mean, jobs, employments. But we have also to invest on how do you call infrastructure, because uh, you see how the north is working to equip, I mean, very importantly academic institutions and provide the needed, I mean, materials to younger generations to be educated, I mean, in the context of the current AI and all these innovations, I mean, aspects. So in countries like Chad, for instance, where I come from, we need to invest more into public aspect of development, for instance, contribute to create awareness, contribute also to regulate the use of digital devices, but also to protect, I mean, internet users, because it's important to create a safe place where internet users can feel free to get to be educated or to work online or to be consulted by any doctor or any institutions over the world. It's important, I mean, to create the same space when it comes to how do you call to be educated.
All right. So I want to pick up from the same point that you just said. You talk about employment, and so now I want to understand. Now we have all these rural communities. What do you think are the key challenges? Let's say taking example of Chad. What do you think are the key examples? I mean, are key challenges in ensuring that the AI tools reach even the rural communities that in Chad? Like, what do you think are the existing challenges?
I have the honor to discuss with Honorable Emmet Swefel, for instance, the ICT Minister of Namibia, who is here. I am very happy to meet her back again. We discussed about this issue several times, and it is a challenge because this one, I mean, concern more our local languages because we have communities that only speak the local languages, while internationally we use devices or technology into other languages internationally recognized. So first of all, we need to create, in terms of digital literacy, content using our local languages for, to allow or to help communities to understand what the message is. For instance, I cannot explain to someone from my community what artificial intelligence means. It could be very difficult to get a word that I can use it to explain what even technology means. But these people, despite the lack of education, they have today a smartphone, tablet. To they use WhatsApp, they use Facebook, for instance. They get to be online without knowing anything. So it's important to develop our local languages, and via this we can create content that our languages are in the top of the program, and create capacity building program, for instance, even to those who have never been to school, the seniors, I mean, people of the third age, and younger generation. This one is the most important things because our governments and private sectors have to invest more into education by providing, the materials needed, equip them, and then promote a very sustainable capacity building program, even to lecturers and students who are in research program, because even these people are disconnected today from the reality. So how can we imagine it will be possible to teach those people who have never been to school if we have not access to information, education as a high level priority?
Wow, thank you so much. I think I can really relate to that. I like the point about multilingualism in AI. I come from Tanzania, from for the record, and in my country we have almost 121 tribes, and each tribe have their own languages. And our national language is Swahili, for example. Among all those 121, we still have people who don't even know the national language, so they don't speak Swahili. So at some point, if we would say someday we come with an AI tools that are in Swahili, for example, they wouldn't understand because they don't even speak Swahili. So we have been having challenges of making, like, reaching the rural communities, like having access to all this digital knowledge, this AI knowledge, and all that. So I think there's really a big work that we have to do for countries like mine. Yeah. So I want to come to you, Rashad. So you have been having experience with technical experience and all that. So I want to see. I want you to talk about how can we ensure AI and other technologies can be designed well to ensure that there is inclusivity and accessibility, especially for undeserved communities.
Okay, thank you so much, Miriam, for the question. And I also like the point of making it inclusive because in Africa we face a lot of issues when it comes to technology, and we need to have access to internet, and many people don't have access to internet. And also we like when we are talking about also access, we have the lack of affordable and reliable internet infrastructure. So in some rural area, like in my country in Benin, many people don't have access to internet. Even those who have access to internet, they just use it for social media. So to address that, maybe we can set some community network or maybe some low cost satellite technologies that can help everybody to have access to internet. So we need a lot of collaboration to fix that. So to come to your question now about how we can make AI more inclusive and accessible for everyone. Firstly, we need to have access to internet, so access to the technology. Is why I was speaking about making more infrastructure so that everybody can access to internet. So to ensure that inclusivity and accessibility really fit in our life today, AI and emerging technologies, we need to design them with a human-centered approach. Like we need to put the human at the middle so that this technology can respect human rights. So this means that we need to involve local communities and also users to design this system so that they can know how it's work and they can also make contribution to design the application and also the technologies as well. Like I can take one example. If we want to design an AI tool, we can support like use AI to translate like to translate our local language. We need to take in account the diversity of African culture and also the socio-economic challenge. We are talking about Tanzania. We have a lot of tribe, same in Benin, same in Chad. So we need to take those in consideration when we are designing some AI tool as well. So another aspect is more about how we can make AI to use less energy so that it can be more green. So when we are talking about AI, sometimes it's about a lot of algorithm and also a lot of energy use. So tool like AI model need to be optimized for mobile device so that we can respect the environment and those AI tool will be green as well. And also another thing we can do is to promote open source AI platform so that everybody can have access to this platform and know how it's work and also can contribute. And by doing that, communities, especially youth innovator and startup, can co-develop or develop a cost-effective solution for specific issues we are facing in Africa, in other part of the world as well. So that will be my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rashad. I really liked the point when you talked about the human-centered approach when we are developing all these AI systems. Because assuming, if you assume the needs of someone without clearly understanding the needs that they really have, and then you develop solutions for them, it may not meet their needs because you have created something that may not be useful for them. So it's really important that we engage all these communities. Now we have talked about all these marginalized groups, have them in the room, understand their needs, like what do you want? How can we assist to ensure that you guys are not left behind in all these discussions and all that? So we have talked about all these challenges. Now I wanna for you, Maxwell. Now, I want you to talk about the success stories. Can you share success stories where youth-led initiatives have bridged digital gaps and improved inclusion?
All right, thank you very much. I think this is, I'll just share my own success stories on some of the projects that I have led in that. And thank you to the wonderful three speakers that have spoken. I think I'm also so much educated right now. Yeah, so when it comes to the success stories, I think it's first important for us to understand the problems that exist, which is the digital divide in most of the communities that I have had the opportunity to work with. Firstly, there's this project that I started with a colleague, and it is called Kiwix for Schools. So we realized that most of the senior high schools in Ghana, for example, had computers, but then the computers were not functional, and those that were also functional were just left abandoned. There were no software, there were no applications that students could engage, and so we came up with this project called Kiwix for Schools, where first we go into the institutions and then we train teachers to understand the concept of digital literacy. We take them through just about an hour of digital literacy, how they can understand it, how they can also look at all the parameters of digital literacy. And as teachers, don't forget that they are custodians of knowledge. And so once the teachers appreciate digital literacy, it becomes easy to transfer in their classroom. So then after we then decided to do the installation of KWIX. KWIX is actually an offline educational resource that enables students to have access to contents like Wikipedia, TED, and all of that. So we also took an advantage of also training the students. So because the students were very many, we decided to sample the class reps so that they will also serve as ambassadors or digital ambassadors to their other colleagues, and we train them on how to use the digital literacy, the KWIX, and also had digital citizenship master class for them. Now we realized that based on just one that we started, a lot of schools started reaching out to myself and my colleague to expand this project. So we decided to do it in about in addition, four other senior high schools, and it was gaining the traction. And I'll share some materials later. Then we decided that no, the senior high schools cannot always only be the ones that benefit, and we decided to take it back to the basic schools where we trained them on digital literacy. Some of the schools that we actually went, they didn't even have computers, but we also understand that once people have the understanding, it shapes their mind in thinking along that tangent. So that was also very important and a very good success stories. As I tell you, KWIX has moved from Ghana to African region, and now we are even training ambassadors in various countries to also do some of this project as well. So that is just one of the projects that we did in bridging the digital gap as well. And also there is also a project called the Life project that we worked on with Paradigm Initiative, and that was to also target atypical people that ordinarily they will not have access to digital literacy or digital skills, where we were able to mobilize people who have left school, people who are not more in who are no more in school, to train them to have some of these skills. And I think it was very successful project, because now some of them are into graphic designing, some of them are into a lot of areas when it comes to digital device. So because of time, these are the two fundamental or the two key success stories that I want to share with us all in terms of bridging the digital divide.
Wow, thank you so much. Congratulations for the great work that you're doing. Now, I want to open the this few minutes to the floor. Um, if you have, can you please share if you have in your specific countries, if you have policies that are helping regulate AI in your countries? Is there something like that that anyone on the floor that would like to share? Anyone from the floor sharing from your respective countries any policies that ensure that there is equitable access in AI? Or maybe we can start. Do you even have policies for AI in your countries? No. Okay. So there is a great work we need to do. So maybe I can come back to you, Jawan. Um, now we have seen here, let's say from the floor, my country we don't, they don't. So how can we ensure like international collaboration help in ensuring that we have proper regulations of like AI in our respective countries and all that? Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, in my university in Germany, even like while it's the first university that actually had the email server in Germany, however, they also doesn't have any regulations about what is acceptable to use AI or not, for example, in research or your studies or tests. So I always thought like why, like we are always talking about like we should have early adopter in AI, we should like make them aware of it and so on, but what are the, I don't know, the universities and like international organizations doing for them to know what is right and wrong? I think in this case the international cooperation or I would say the international alliance comes in hand, where there should be a universal guideline and regulations about how the people are knowing like what's okay and not to use AI. For example, I think yesterday in the youth session they were talking about AI and education, so that while we talk about marginalized people who doesn't know how to use AI, however, are we ready for them to actually use AI in universities or in companies where like just providing the AI is not the end of everything? However, I think it begins with all the problem about the privacy and everything, where we do not have actual like internet governance ready for them to include everyone in the end user having a right to say about how they use the data or not. So I think in that case, the international cooperation should really focus on first thinking of how do we integrate all the end user and stakeholders in this governance, and second of all, having the proper regulations have a universal guideline about how we deal with such a problem.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm coming back to you, Doctor. You've done some researches on AI, right? Or right. I want you to help me share examples where AI was successfully implemented to solve the digital exclusion. Is there any instance maybe you can help us share?
Well, in very largely when it comes to achieve the SDGs, for instance, using or benefiting from the use of AI, for instance, in Chad, we have Drone Tech, which is an initiative that provides support to rural communities when it comes to assist them in social, how do you call issue, for instance, or when there is a social crisis, for instance, we intervene to bring, resources or materials, to help the community. So, for instance, during the crisis between Sudan in Sudan, for instance, we have refugees that were in the border of Chad and were seeking for help. So we use it, those drones to bring, support to the refugees. But also in terms of education, we have initiatives that help, children to understand better alphabet or vocabulary, or even talk to people, for instance, in different languages using these tools. So it's important to invest in this issue because we have so many challenges to address, and for that we need a multi-stakeholder collaboration, because none of the stakeholder alone can act and address the challenges, only if we contribute together as a very one and strong multi-stakeholder body. So I call or I even urge the UN and its partner and our governments to take this one into serious engagement, especially in countries of the South. It is essential to align ourselves with today's realities when it comes to also tackle the mondialization challenges. We are a little bit far, and we only solve this with digital inclusion, for instance, and digitalization of the society, because I'm seeing the war in 10, 20 years perhaps we will be having perhaps AI tools that will be able to give 100 or let's say 95% of consultation, let's say medical consultation, and even provide like a prescription. While in countries of the South, developing countries, if you explain this to someone, it could be very strained. So we need to work a little bit hard to align ourselves with the war realities and advancement. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Doctor. Rashad, um, now we have talked about all these challenges. We have seen we don't have proper regulations when it comes to AI within our specific countries now. But we have also seen the divide that is currently existing between the rural communities and the urban communities. So, what do you think? What steps do you think we can take to ensure that we are bridging the digital divide between the rural and the urban areas?
Okay, thank you for the question. I think we have a lot to do. We have many issues when it comes to inclusivity. And from a technical perspective, I think we can maybe first expand the infrastructure because we need to have infrastructure first so that we can have access to the internet and those technologies. So to do that, maybe we can also uh, do community work or in Africa, many countries don't already do not have access to 5G yet. So we can also, by expanding the infrastructure, working on 5G technology or develop some satellite-based internet. Starlink is growing in Africa and it's sometimes more affordable for some people in remote area. So we can leverage on public partnership or public-private partnership to do that as well. After expanding our infrastructure, we can also promote energy access. Like, in some rural communities, we don't have reliable electricity. And when you talk about internet and connectivity, is more about access to electricity. If you don't have electricity, you cannot have internet. So it's really crucial to have access to energy so that we can promote digital inclusion and using also renewable energy like solar and wind to do that. Another way it may be to have affordable device and solution because the issues of money is also crucial. So we need affordable device so that people can buy this device and those devices also should be energy efficient device so that it will not use a lot of energy and we can also uh, do a lot of local content like localize the content and service like we have issues about language barrier so the solution should be more localized and we can develop a lot of content when it comes to our local language on those technology as well. And we can also leverage on our communities to do that. Like if we want to do the solution, we need to do it with our community so that we can empower the local youth and also encourage the entrepreneur to do a lot. I see in the room we have many entrepreneurs here, so it's really important as an entrepreneur to build build the solution we really need to our communities with them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rashad. And since we are out of time, our time is almost over now. I wanna go last to you, Maxwell. So, what do you think? What role do you think young people can play in shaping AI policies and tools to ensure that they address the needs of diverse populations?
Yeah, so I think that this is a very important question. I think first we need to be very inclusive, or in the design approach of all these policies around AI, it should be very inclusive, where young people do not only participate but are involved in crafting some of these policies as well. And I think that for young people to be able to also be included, then it comes to capacity building and capacity enhancement, how to even understand and leverage on the languages of AI as well. You don't necessarily need to be a programmer or a deep developer or hardcore developer to be able to understand the parameters within which the artificial intelligence or AI works. And you would agree, or we would all agree, that AI has come to stay. And so in order for young people not to be, maybe I'll use this term as AI immigrants, they should be able to understand the parameters. It should be also included in mainstream education for young people to understand. When we talk about AI, then young people can now think around critically around some of the use of AI as well. So I think the inclusive approach is very important in crafting and shaping this in order to allow young people to be involved. And even as at the high level discourse, or at the high level plenaries and conversations around this, we need to also get the inputs of young people in shaping the policies as well. Yeah, so these are the thoughts that come in mind. And also there should be programs that would be structured in a way to also make sure that the capacity of young people are built to understand AI.
Thank you very much, Maxwell. So now we have heard from us panelists. I want to open the floor again to my participants. Is there any question that you have to the speakers? Any contributions? Something that you would want to add from this ongoing discussion? Yes, please.
Um, you mentioned a lot about young people, but I'm wondering, as opposed to the young population, what can we do to the elder, to make sure that they have equal access to AI or internet? Because a lot of older people nowadays, they have like ingrained ideology opposing AI, and they also, due to their physical or cognitive issues, they have trouble getting access to the internet, and some of them are also lacking enough money. So how do you think we can address that issue?
Who wants to respond? Okay, yes.
Thank you for the question. Well, for those who are professional, I think it would be a little bit easy to support. I mean, the process, because we can just call companies to have like capacity enhancement program to these professionals. Anytime there is a certification or any programs comes out, we can organize such, I mean, capacity enhancement program to reinforce their capacities in certain subject. But for those who are unprofessional or have never worked or don't have quality education, we can work on digital literacy by creating, as we say, content using local languages to help them understand the use of these tools or I mean digital devices or whatever, any program that can help them, I mean, in their age. I think is, yeah, so that's why it's important to keep working very hard to initiate a program that support younger generation to be very well educated and then align itself with our today's realities or the 21st, I mean, century realities, let's say, in general.
Anyone who wants to add, panelists? Okay, so I think something just I wanted to add on. I think it's really important to understand. I would say, let's say from my country per se, we can't go directly and start introducing AI because there's still a very large group of people that are not digitally literate. So then we have people that can't even turn on computers. They can't even do a simple Google search and stuff. So I think at some point to help, let's say, with the elders in that kind of a situation, we might need to start with the basics. So we can't go to AI if they don't even get the basics of computers. They need to understand the basic stuff, and then moving forward, that will at least be easier, I guess. Yeah. Any other question from the floor? Any contribution? Yes.
So thank you very much for these interesting contributions. My name is Florent Huber. I'm a professor of law at the University of Zurich. So I come from a very privileged country. But I think it might be interesting also for you to know that we also have minority languages. We have a language in Switzerland which is spoken by less than 20,000 people. It's even split up in different dialects. They have difficulties understanding each other. So developing AI tools for these language groups is a huge challenge, just because there's a lack of data and lack of users as well. But maybe given that there are some developed countries that face similar problems, there is a chance to cooperate, amongst continents on these, I think, very important issue.
Very insightful contribution. Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Ram Mohan, and I'm with a company called Identity Digital and Critical Infrastructure. One of the things that I've been quite concerned about with AI and digital inclusion, especially in the area of languages, as the prior intervention was, I think we are now in an era of data poor and data rich languages. And I think if you look forward in the next 5 to 10 years, AI systems which train on language sets are going to train disproportionately on data-rich languages and are going to leave data-poor languages to the side. And I think if we don't take action now, we're going to start having a risk that the data-poor languages will disappear from the digital infrastructure, and the people who speak and use those languages are also going to go away. So I'm quite concerned about that. Wonder if you have a perspective on it.
My panelists, do you have any contribution on that?
Well, it's not a contribution, but perhaps I can add a little bit more into this question and ask our professor from Switzerland, because when I was in Lyon during my PhD program, I used to go to Geneva, where I'm more connected with how do you call certain programs. So, do you think, Professor, that AI use, or let's say digitalization, can be an opportunity to develop minorities? Languages. The less developed, spoken. Let's say languages, because if we work on that, we have no choice only to create programs that will develop these languages, add more vocabularies, create programs that, because it's very limited, this vocabulary in this language. So how do you think we can work on that?
Thank you very much. Tough question. I'm not sure I do have any ideas how to work on that, but I fully agree that I think it's super important. Groups into this technology. Yes? Okay. Because even right now, they risk to be left behind, and there's simply a danger of these languages getting extinct. Because maybe as opposed to in some of the African countries, speak German or Italian on top, so they are able to communicate in other languages, which raises of the language getting extinct. Introduce that language into these technologies might be a means to promote it and give people chances to communicate with technologies. So I think it's super important, but no solution so far. I'm sorry.
Okay. Any contribution? Yes, at the back. Can you please pass the mic at the back? Over there.
Thank you for an interesting presentation, I must say. I think one of the aspects really is that I resonate with what you're all saying. My name is Mbongeni Msimanga, sorry. I'm a postdoctoral researcher with the Johannesburg Institute for Advanced Study in South Africa. So one of the issues is I originally come from Zimbabwe, and one of the issues especially that we face in our country is that there is I don't know if I may say, policy contradiction, right? So the question is, should we wait for government to actually introduce policy, or should we let the industry to lead, right? I must say that, especially within the media sector, we already have AI robots, right? And particularly from an institute called the SITE. It's called the Center for Technology Innovation, right? It's mainly a news site, right? They're already developing an LLM for one of the main languages in Zimbabwe, which is Isindebele language, right? So that's one of the critical aspects that should we actually wait for government, because government is actually delaying, and for them to pass these policies, to pass these laws, takes so much time, right? So we have these institutes actually developing these specific or going ahead with AI policy and all. So in Zimbabwe as well, if I may say that one of the resolutions in terms of consultations with Internews and the Media Institute for Southern Africa was to sort of develop an Afrocentric AI tools, right? Some term it the Ubuntu robot, right? So it's one of the critical aspects that perhaps we can take a lead from as well, right? But I must say that we're still far from actually developing policy, considering the slow pace at which everything is actually going. But this site, as I mentioned, has really taken a very critical role in actually developing this LLM within and including actually minority languages, especially within that. We had an uproar recently as well where that particular robot that could not even pronounce Isindebele names or African names, and a lot of people are actually complaining around that, right? So I think coming up with this LLM would really probably assist in that as well. So that's my main contribution, and very interesting work that everyone is actually doing here as well.
Thank you very much, everyone, for the contribution. This is really an amazing discussion that's going on here. But we have less than 5 minutes, so allow me to please close this session. And I would like to tell my speakers to please tell me, if you are to describe in a single word, what would be the critical factor that would help in ensuring a digital inclusion in AI? Like in one word, what would be a factor that you think this is very critical for us to achieve digital inclusion in AI? Yes.
Education.
Education. J1?
Oh, public awareness.
Public awareness. My online speakers.
Capacity.
Capacity. Rashad?
Human-based approach.
Human-based approach.
Human-based approach.
Human-based approach. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much for attending and joining us this session today. And we're looking forward to seeing you in other sessions. Thank you. Thank you to the panelists too.